Championship at QuakeCon 2023 is about to begin.
That's what I'm talking about. What is Lethal doing down there? Shouldn't he be doing his job? Anyways, yeah.
Nice. He's loving the games just as much. So
it's true.
All right. Who am I casting with? Oh,
that's me.
Bye, Dan.
Yeah.
Bye.
Sorry.
Enjoy the game.
You're stuck with me.
All right, 40. I'm really excited. It has been amazing, amazing play all weekend long. It all comes down to this. Two familiar faces. One who has been a champion 4 times. RAISY has taken several second places, but now getting the opportunity to possibly clinch the belt and the championship.
This is it. Big start here for RAPHA. A lot of LG damage into the machine gun here as he doesn't have a rail yet, but he wants to keep that damage up from a distance. He's going to go through the Thunderdome and grab some rockets, making his way through the telly, and this could be, ooh, if he was a little bit faster, maybe a shotgun blast. Well, there it is.
And that's going to be one of the things, at least, that RAISY is going to be looking to do, is try to utilize the movement of Clutch in the best way that he possibly can, make it a little bit harder for RAPHA to be hitting some of those shots. But gosh, RAPHA, it cannot be understated. He has really been playing phenomenally this weekend. In the last time that they met, which was this morning, RAPHA won 3-0, and RAISY has to just put that game and series out of his mind and try to make something happen here. Inside the room, this is a great spot for him to be, and RAISY's gonna get the first frag. He is hurt. It was not clean by any means, 40, but he put one on the board.
Yeah. Did what he needed to do, and now it's a little rough. He's just hanging on. He's going to grab a light armor. He really wants this mega. RAPHA wants to rush, and he's just mistimed it. Couldn't get there in time. Luckily for RAISY, he's going to be able to stack back up and kind of stabilize after that first fight.
Still so early in this game, and both players are probably going to be playing at a pace in which they're kind of feeling one another out. You know, RAISY playing from somewhat of a disadvantaged position with RAPHA already up 1 game because he made it through that upper bracket. RAISY also has had to take out one of his own teammates in order to get here in what was a grueling matchup versus Wenger. And now trying to finally grab that championship belt. So very quiet for the last 50 seconds. That shield is up for RAISY, and that is going to be key for him to try to win these battles. Now, we saw also the situation. RAPHA got stuck in that room, tried to use the orb to escape, actually up the jump pad. Shield is popped. This works out pretty good for RAPHA because that shield doesn't do much in that engagement.
Yeah, unfortunately for RAISY, he just couldn't get up the jump pad to aggress after the shield was popped. But you're absolutely right. That first frag got him in a corner. The dire orb was used, and here comes the push. LG around the corner, 80 HP. RAISY on the run. The rail will miss just barely. RAISY's going to grab a light, and he's going to jump through that window and through that telly.
That was a good escape by RAISY. He did not want to turn and fight, especially because that shield was not up, but it is now. Orb is down, shield is up. This is a window of opportunity for RAISY, but you just can't force it in a championship match like this. So you got to take it. Big rocket bounce, second one, and there is frag number 2. The shield is popped. It's a bit of assurance, 40, but he gets the job done.
He's all about it. It doesn't matter. 2 frag lead here, and he's actually going to contest, and this is a little crazy given he doesn't have the shield to rail up close, but the shotgun switch is going to net him his 3rd frag. RAISY is looking very good here, Wheat.
A very solid beginning and start for him, as you mentioned, right? If he wins this first game and can somehow kind of equalize it with another nicely placed rail. Shield going to be up in about 16 seconds. Orb is there, but you know what? If there's one thing you know about RAPHA, it is that you don't count him out. We've seen him claw back from 6, 7, even 9 frag deficits and come back to win games. But RAISY so far is doing what he needs to do to potentially be the winner of this first game. Catches his opponent coming through. Nice rail does come out from RAPHA, but RAISY with the rocket to put up frag number 5.
Incredible rail off the spawn as well. RAPHA with the rail of his own. As RAISY will stack back up again, the light armor in the window room. The rocket, he jumps over it. RAPHA wants more damage. There's another rail in the orb to get the frag. What a play from RAPHA there.
And that's exactly what he wants to do in this particular case, right? Orb, yes, it can be used for mobility, but it can also be used to delete your opponent, just like RAPHA did there. We've got 6 minutes left on the clock, and that is a little bit easier with 4 frags, but there we do have shield pop out. Nice rail coming out. RAISY's gonna kind of push the fight. and the shield runs out. RAPHA doing a significant amount of damage, but RAISY's still able to get away.
Yeah, and after all that, RAISY has position on the Mega, so he's okay with taking that initial damage, but he is going to try and fight for this Mega. No orb up for RAPHA. The rail before he goes through the telly. RAPHA will grab the light. Ooh. Nice rail as well, and he's muscled his way onto that Mega Weed.
He had to give up the Mega, but at least he got a rail as he was departing that room. Nice orb by RAPHA, again, for positioning, puts him there in a spot to be able to grab that heavy, but actually decides to push on RAISY. Got some good damage in. He's got an opportunity to grab frag number 2. There's a shotgun blast coming around the corner. All he needs to do on the chase.
Wow.
Oh, kind of caught on the call there. And the shield pops at the perfect time to save him once again. RAISY still on the run.
Yeah, still on the hunt is RAPHA. He knows he's weak, and he finds him with the LG to get his second frag. And RAISY hyper defensive on that one. Popped the shield, as you said, just to stay alive, but he didn't have resources to stack back up. RAPHA knew it, took advantage of it, and now the shield is down 25 seconds, and RAPHA on the hunt again.
And there it is. LG out, catches him just a little bit off of that jump pad. He sees his opponent grab that heavy, and honestly, RAISY kind of needed to disrupt that control coming out by RAPHA. So Mega is going to be up here in just a moment, and I do think RAPHA's handling this well. The shield is going to be back up for RAISY here in just a moment. Orb is up, and let's see what happens. Now, RAPHA's looking for opportunities to force RAISY to pop that shield, so then he can go in and damage. Of course, that's going to negate some of the damage incoming from RAPHA. And huge rail coming out. Immediately, we see the pop of the shield, and RAPHA down to nothing. The orb kind of misfired there, and RAISY takes frag number 6.
Oh no, and he's going to get one off the spawn as well. The rail doesn't land for RAPHA at the last minute, 7-2. Oh, just over 6 minutes, and oh look, there's a Mega Weed.
Right now.
Oh my God, and again, a rail in a shotgun, and RAISY's running away with this.
And, you know, this is impressive, right? We are seeing RAPHA with more damage. He's got about 2,700 damage to the 2,500 of RAISY. RAPHA right now shooting a 63% rail out of 19 shots, and both players with a 40 or above LG, with, of course, RAPHA with a ton more damage, but very interesting. These two are really putting on quite a show, and they're hitting their shots.
Absolutely, so much damage from both players, but RAISY coming out a little better off. 6 frag lead, 7 minutes in. Big buck shot up close. RAPHA really wants this one. RAISY closes the gap.
Wow.
9 HP after the shield pop and engagement. RAPHA trying to clap back, and he does in the Thunderdome and makes a quick frag back.
And he needed that one if he's going to try to bring this one back, right? He needs to stop that momentum of RAISY. He was able to do so. He knows the shield's down, but not for long. It's going to be back up now. And that, again, you can just see once RAISY pops that shield just how difficult it is to take out your opponent. Now, if you're looking to make back 6 frags, that is going to be tough, especially if RAISY is hitting defensive rockets like that one. You can't really chase. In fact, he's going to go in on it. Shield does pop out yet again. He hits another rocket, and although RAISY is so low, there's not much that RAPHA can do to chase.
Yeah, couldn't really risk it, but that was pretty good damage here. Heavy will go to RAPHA, and RAISY trying to stack back up, and now it's a matter of time. 6 frag deficit for RAPHA. He's got to start making things happen, and RAISY, if he just keeps the damage high and makes sure to prioritize the vials, he will have the shield for any kind of engagement.
And right now, he has got to be on the hunt for RAISY. Rocket jump up to that Mega. And just not able to find him. There. Oh, nice! That rail was huge. RAISY trying to go for that teleporter to get back in, but that rail caused him to go completely off trajectory. And that's a solid way of just getting rid of that shield. Now, shield wasn't popped. Here it is. LG coming out. RAPHA going to commit to this one on the chase. Great rail. Is stopped by a rocket. It doesn't hit, but it stops him. And there is 1 minute and 30 seconds left for RAPHA to try to come back with 5 frags. At this point, that's looking like a pretty tall order. I don't know if that's possible.
We've seen a lot of things happen, but this one is going to be one of the most difficult here. RAISY's going to definitely stay away from that window after what just happened and just maintain this 5 frag lead. He wants to play defensive. He's going to have the shield back up, and this is all RAPHA. He's got to aggress. He's got to play smart. He's got to do so much damage. And look at that defense from RAISY. Just unbelievable. On the rail, and one more, maybe. No, RAPHA gets the rail instead right before the Mega.
5-9 with a minute left to go. And just to put it in perspective, there's at least one more shield here. With RAISY's movement, I think he's able to just play defensive at this point. RAPHA's going to do everything to try to track him down, but he may just have to be setting his sights onto the next game, which will be Keep. And a map that has been claimed by both of these players. It's both as RAPHA's Keep and as RAISY's Keep.
Absolutely, but I am very impressed with RAISY here. Again, the picks were stronger as we looked at the pick ban phase, and getting this comfort pick on map number 1 and playing to this level and resetting essentially to a best of 5. RAISY has to feel a little bit of relief. He's still got a ton of work left to do, but this is fantastic for RAISY.
There's one more frag, but to get 3 frags in 15 seconds, that just is not going to happen. So RAISY will take the first map. There we see the shield pop and what could be the final engagement as the clock and seconds tick away. RAISY will tie the series up 1-1. ZSX is back at the desk, and we said how crucial that first map would be for RAISY to kind of negate that advantage that RAPHA has, and he has done it. Now, let me ask you this, because RAPHA's a smart guy. He knows RAISY on clutch is going to be tough to deal with. Do you think that that was maybe an outcome that he expected?
Getting off to that start was incredibly important for RAISY, just to set the tempo, set the aggression, and show the confidence as well. Even within a minute, you're just getting the frag. And there were some elements of fortune to get there, but I think RAPHA would have expected that, right? That's what a clutch brings, and the problem is, clutch breaks the methodology of the duel, right? There's very little RAPHA could have done in many situations to be able to combat that. And so we get the reset, baby. We go back, and it's a square game, a square best of 5.
It's a beautiful way to start. Again, sigh of relief, but still a ton of work on RAISY's plate, but that does give him a little bit of cushion, and it kind of evened things out. And again, his pick phase was actually a lot stronger this time. As we look deeper and deeper, it's only going to get better for him as we take a look at the stats.
We talk about the ability to play all the champions, play all the maps. You know, maybe RAPHA should play clutch. He had the first pick, and he could have taken it away from him. He thought he could counter it. We see the Ranger have worked in the past, and it could have worked on this map, but the pressure was too much. The start was too strong, and to try and come back against your clutch is almost impossible. You have to set the tempo and the momentum.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, RAISY was just doing the dance well enough to be able to keep out of sight of RAPHA. And 6-9, still pretty high scoring, all things considered.
Yeah.
But now we're going to be moving on to Corrupted Keep, where we're going to have RAPHA on the Anarchy and RAISY on the Strogg.
Really interesting. RAPHA again picking the Anarchy this time, and it's a champion where, again, you have to snowball. The Anarchy wants to be in front, and he wants to set the tempo. It's incredibly strong if you can do that. You have the inject to boot, but at the same time, I like the Strogg as a counter because it is a solid medium champion, good stack to his name, spawns with some armor, has the health vials if he kills his opponent. So then he has that snowball potential too. The Pika for the burst. I think that RAISY can stabilize it. If he can slow that tempo and stop RAPHA from getting ahead early, he's going to be in a really good position on this map. If RAPHA gets a strong start, then it becomes worrying.
We've seen RAPHA play, I think, twice against an Anarchy and Corrupted Keep. The game plan has always been keep away armor. I want to see RAISY implement that same strategy. Try and take all the armors off the map, let him have his mega health, let him have his inject, and just leave him armorless. And just shotgun damage is so big against an Anarchy with no armor. It is absolutely incredible.
I mean, but when you think about denying someone armor, like RAPHA is typically one of the best at that, right?
Yeah.
We've seen him start out. And all these, it is no small task against someone who knows how to do that so well. But again, like these two are here in the grand finals for a reason. Who they had to battle through, how they approached and played each game, some of them in overtime, some of them clawing comebacks. They both deserve to be here. So that's definitely a tall order, but it's possible. You do get that frag, you get an advantage, it can happen. We've seen the best players completely lock down and control map versus other players all the time.
Absolutely, and RAISY has the potential to do that against RAPHA. RAPHA has the potential to do that against RAISY. It definitely comes down, once again, to that start. It's going to be critical.
We are in a position now, tied up. This next game is going to be crucial. Taking even a single game lead, ZSX can help swing the momentum, and it's not all about the momentum, but there's a big opportunity here. Flea's not up here, but I'm sure he's got some stat about, like, RAISY's never been in the lead by more than one game in a grand final series, so we'll have to see how this goes.
Well, he's not in the lead yet either,
No.
as he has to fight through RAPHA on Corrupted Keep. He's got him pinned in the corner to start with. He's down below, he's used the Pika, but RAPHA's also got the inject in reserve if he needs it. And take this fight knowing he has that resource available. Big Rocket just missing the head of RAISY, but still doing enough chip damage.
Yeah, and our major items are going to be very, very close to one another. They're going to swap it up. Actually, big LG damage. And RAPHA has an opportunity for that first frag. RAISY only 8 points of health. RAPHA knows he's just going to constrict RAISY's movement, and RAISY's going to decide to go for it. He has to double back, and that's confidence from RAPHA right there, saying, okay, I'm going to let you live right here. Huge rocket coming out, but RAPHA's still getting that first frag. He's up on the board.
Amazing awareness from RAPHA to understand that RAISY was so weak he wouldn't commit for the heavy, and that gave RAPHA the opportunity to take the map away. He's also got his prey locked once again. The inject's coming up in 3. The mega is coming up in 5. RAPHA wants to delay. He wants to take it, and he wants to kill his opponent following all of the above. He's got RAISY trapped there. Big rocket coming out. RAISY has to push into the room, but nothing to work with. RAPHA's going to strip this map away, and that worst case scenario we talked about, it's happening for RAISY.
And you know what, even grabbing that light on the way out through the red room as he was making his way over to the heavy, that was huge. You can see RAISY has 0 armor stack right now. Not great when you consider what RAPHA has at his disposal, including another inject in about 10 seconds here. And now RAPHA on the hunt. He definitely has the control right now. There's another mega picked up. And this is RAISY now in a rough spot, doing everything to try to find himself a single light armor. There's a shotgun blast. RAISY is now on the run. RAPHA's got his target out.
Yeah, but RAISY did a lot of damage. He's also delaying his pickup massively. Look how much damage he's done. The heavy machine gun as well. And this is one of the things with the Anarchy. If you get caught out in the open, you can get stripped with that heavy machine gun with the hit scan. It's about the trades. It's about the tempo. RAPHA dropping down below. He doesn't want anything with that. He wants to push in for this mega. But RAISY's got it as well. RAPHA steals it, bounces away, in fact. And that is the second frag.
I was nicely done by RAPHA doing the dance, but keeping himself in a safety spot. He's going to go in on it.
Whoa.
And that was risky, but you know, in these situations, you do have an advantage. He decided to go for it. That could have turned out worse, but it actually put him up by another 3-0 lead with 2 minutes and 46 seconds on the clock.
Oh no, RAPHA drops down. Actually gets away from the Pika and strips his life. I thought that was the right play, but RAPHA is on another level to all of us, going the long way around. And now these aggressive pushes from RAISY, they're appearing to become reckless very, very quickly as he's in the ropes and will give up a 5th frag within 3 minutes.
I mean, that becomes danger zone, right? Yes, this is a map where those frag conversions can snowball, but not like this, as RAPHA continued to dish out the damage. Now, very low this time, and RAISY is able to just juke and dodge enough to stay alive, grab the mega, and put his first frag on the board. But RAPHA still with a solid 4-frag lead.
But it all comes down to this next round of items. RAPHA's had to forfeit this heavy, but he will want to contest this next mega. As I say that, he moves into vicinity. RAISY with the machine gun at the ready, stripping RAPHA's health away. Drops down low, no Pika, but RAPHA's going to try and do what RAISY did. He's got the buffer of 5 frags to play with, though. That is the difference here. He can be aggressive and chuck away a few frags to get that control back, because we know how masterful he is when he has that dominance.
I'm actually surprised. He is going to go for the red room. He knows that RAPHA's there trying to get himself a light, and it pays off. He actually decides to go in through the hourglass hallway.
And I can't even tell you how incredibly smart both these players are playing with their entryways. They're taking these unusual pathing and catching each other off guard. Constant game of chess and back and forth. But look at the dominance now. It's completely swapped. 15 seconds between the items. RAISY can play aggressive. He can strip this health at distance and then use that leverage to consolidate the item advantage.
And there's what 40 was talking about, except being done by RAISY, going through that red room, taking away that light, and you can see RAPHA has no armor stack at all, which means that's a big clue for RAISY, knowing like, well, I picked this one up, the other one is right over here, and if he can kind of guard it, if he can kind of deny it, big shotgun blast, but not a ton of damage. RAPHA in that back corner. There's a big opportunity here for RAISY to try to bring this one back.
Timing and that is massive as he has to vacate. He knows it's up at some time now, but Raisy's have to double back. He's going to catch him. RAPHA's going to go the long way around, and he gets caught with a heavy machine gun.
And he gets the heavy, and he might be able to head on
He
over
won't
and
get
grab
the
this
mega.
That is big. Grabbing control of both the major items. You are absolutely right, and why knowing the timings is oh so important. You drop in there too early, and you are just a fish in a barrel, easy to be able to take out.
He has no idea.
None.
Yeah, he has no idea when the timings are. And that is worrying. I've never seen RAPHA this disorientated on a map before. It's the pressure from RAISY once again, forcing him away. He's pushed him away. 13 health. The heavy's up, but at what cost? The peak is there. It hits him in the face. He's got enough to survive. RAISY's got the mega, and RAISY's got the momentum. He's going to continue this push. No LG for RAPHA. If RAISY catches him out in the open, he could be in trouble, and he knows where he is. You can see the X-ray. He's pushing round. He knows he's going to push. Big rocket at the second.
What a big frag. Also getting that light. Catches RAPHA off the spawn. Is going to get him once again. Doesn't know the timing. Has to go through the teleporter and is taken out with that last tick of the lightning gun. And suddenly we are tied.
We talked about momentum, and RAISY has it in abundance. He's using the snowball on the strong, but big rocket coming out from RAPHA on the defense. The Pika does some work. RAISY still wants to push. He's got the weapon advantage, but not the stack. RAPHA!
Oh my gosh! The rocket came through. I think RAPHA thought that rocket was going to connect and make something happen. It did not, though. RAISY somehow stayed alive and got the frag, and for the first time, he's got the lead in this match.
Yeah, and there was so much time before the heavy armor that RAISY could push on in, and this is the problem. RAPHA isn't doing any damage. He's just running away like a scared animal, and that means he's not doing anything to get himself onto these items, to press them, and in some instances, even to get the timing.
We've got 3 minutes left in this game. Still in a situation that anything can happen, but those light armors being gobbled up by RAISY. Another big peeker kill, and then getting the heavy on top of that. Right now, RAPHA just wondering how he is going to knock down the defense that RAISY has right now, and frankly deal with his offense as well.
And this is the problem, but big rocket's coming out. The third one doesn't hit.
He's got to make it happen.
This is the most amount of work he's done in the last 3 or 4 minutes. He's actually stopped the momentum of RAISY. RAISY really can't pressure this heavy, otherwise that will happen. A rocket to the face. RAPHA can't follow up. He doesn't have the weapons, but now he has an item. He can begin to build. 2 minutes to go, 2 frags in it, but he needs to maintain this stack ahead of this next mega. RAISY's above. RAISY's prowling with the rockets. RAPHA's done a good job to steal it away and actually get away relatively cleanly. Now he can chase with this inject up in 3 seconds.
And more importantly, RAPHA knows what the timings are. Now there's only less than 2 minutes left to go, so that's not going to be huge in 2 more cycles, but that frag is huge as he brings his deficit to just 1 frag with 1:40 left on the clock. He knows what the timings are. He's sitting on top of that heavy. He even gets a chance to delay it just a little bit, knowing that he's going to be able to get it safely, and that allows him to have that heavier stack going into what could be a tying frag. He's going to grab the Mega 2, and he's got to make a move. Now, out of players here who are able to make a move, RAPHA definitely one who knows how to make it happen. He gets some damage, but doesn't force it. Peeker is down, and that means another window of opportunity.
Yeah, but the items have begun to converge, so if RAISY can delay, there is something he can fall back on. RAPHA's even taking away the lights, as RAPHA does. RAISY going to have to try and now just hide. He's caught between a rock and a hard place. He's moved out of position for this mega, so look at the stack of RAPHA. It's going to be gigantic. RAISY's going to have to play the minute of his life to take this map away, otherwise we will go to an overtime.
And this is not a very big map. There's only so many places to hide. We're going to see RAPHA.
He's caught from above. He's dropped down. No! Shotgun to the face!
Both of them connect in a majestic way, and we are tied up. But now he's in a fantastic position. He's got the better stack. He knows the time. He's catching with the LG. He almost pulls it down. The eject comes out just in case. And 20 seconds left, or we're going to overtime. LG comes out. Peeker! Oh! Peeker is shot down, but more importantly, RAISY goes down. RAPHA regains the lead, and with 10 seconds remaining, RAPHA, did he just pull it out? And the answer is yes. Wow.
Wow, indeed.
let the cheers kind of tell the story. That is what makes a champion, right? Being down by several frags, having your opponent come back, tie it up, take the lead again, and then just to be able to claw it back. But not only that, in the last minute and 20 seconds.
That was two Goliaths going head to head because they just wrestled control and map dominance away from one another, trying to show who is the alpha. We went from a 5-0 scoreline to what was a, I think it was 8-5, just perfection from both players in different ways, and it was RAPHA who had that little bit of juice left in the tank at the end.
That was an absolutely incredible map. This whole series has been incredible so far, right? The control going back and forth. RAISY coming so close to finally being in the lead in a grand final, but no, he is once again finding himself in a position where he's got to chase down RAPHA, and this is the fight that determined it all. RAISY, he's still going to be visible. Yeah, he was still in plain sight. I don't know what he was going for there. Maybe he thought he was closer to the doorway and would no longer be visible, but no, RAPHA held his ground. He stood tall, got himself a decisive frag.
I mean, just happy that these games are as close as they are. Honestly, when RAPHA was struggling with the timing, that looked pretty bad. But it does go to show you keep your cool, you watch what your opponent does, right? Sometimes you're able to get information even when you don't have it. Like, so for example, he knew that those major items were separated enough. When he did finally get the heavy, he knew that he could kind of move over to the mega, and he put himself in a position to be able to attack that. At that point, he grabbed control.
Absolutely, and we spoke about momentum, we spoke about the snowball effect of both champions, and we saw it in abundance from Anarchy towards the end, and particularly on a map like Corrupted Keep where there is no rail, sometimes you just have to wait. There's always going to be that element of a messy fight, and it's the key when you're out of control is to maintain your composure, your positioning, not give up too many frags, and eventually your opportunity will come, and that's what RAPHA did. He was clueless for a few minutes, but he didn't give up too many frags, and that kept him within you know, a controllable factor of a victory.
One of the things that I find most remarkable about RAPHA is how good he is at making those comebacks matter, right? Very often it's not even necessary because it's RAPHA, right? Often he's the one in the driving seat, but I always get the impression when you're watching that a player can be, what, 2, 3, 4 frags in the lead with a minute or two left, and it still feels like RAPHA is the one who's about to take it, and that is incredible. No other player in the league does that, I think, and again, RAPHA mounted the comeback successfully so.
What's really interesting now as we head into game number 4, RAPHA's ahead 2-1 right now, but we go on to Ruins. Pretty big map. We're going to have RAPHA playing on the Nyx, and we're going to have a RAISY playing on the Scale Bearer. So the style of game that we just saw in Corrupted Keep is going to be so far from what we are about to see. What are your thoughts?
Really interesting. Obviously, I don't think we saw a lot of these two champions together on this particular map. As I said, we saw this exact matchup on Molten earlier with RAISY on the Nyx, and you know, RAPHA was able to utilize the stack and speed to bully the Nyx. It's definitely harder to do that on Ruins just because of the geometry of the map, the way the items are laid out. RAISY might want to make a play in and around the heavy armor, but then you can also just use the bull rush to kind of skirt through, steal away the mega with a bit of a drive-by. I can't believe I'm not allowed to cast this one, guys. This one, I honestly don't know it's going to play out. I was speaking to some of the pros. They said they didn't know it was going to play out. I'm pretty sure these guys on stage don't really know it's going to play out. It's going to be more of a, I'm going to evolve into the game. I'm going to see how it's playing. If I'm hitting my shots, I can be more aggressive. I think this one's going to be a bit more lucid, a little bit more flexible, and they're going to be more adaptive than more of a strategy.
Yeah, a lot of different scenarios here to potentially that could unfold here. I do think Flea, RAISY, he is a player that loves to set up those traps, but RAPHA's, right, he's a tough little creature to trap, right? He's tough to trick.
He was nicknamed the Professor for a reason, right? His game awareness, his positioning is extremely good. And here we go, starting it off once again on RAPHA's point of view. He's playing the Nyx, he's got that ghost walk, the wall jump, but he's small, doesn't have a lot of stack to work with. And Weed, you as our resident Scale Bearer fan, you would be very excited to watch RAISY pick him at such a critical moment.
I have to say, no, I haven't changed my mind about Scale too much, but the players that have utilized Scale, hold on, we've got to fight down here in the lower heavy room, and that bull rush did come out, and that just hearing the footsteps is intimidating enough. And expect that if RAPHA does hear that, he's going to immediately go into a defensive posture, try to stop his opponent. but that's also where that trapping from RAISY comes in big, right? If you see the bull rush coming from a million miles away, you probably will be able to avoid, especially when you've got a ghost walk. It just doesn't, you know, in case. But that's why RAISY's probably going to try to find a moment that he would be able to use it.
That's risky. Both of these players taking a big risk. RAPHA doing some good damage, taking a rocket to the face. And he's going to buy RAISY some precious time and freedom, but he's got to give up the Mega in this exchange. And now RAISY, despite being the tank, has got significantly less stack than RAPHA. No doubt the American is looking to capitalize of this advantage.
The first frag is going to be huge too, right? Here's a situation, right? RAPHA gets a frag, converts 1, 2, 3. RAISY trying to kind of outpace the Knicks and catching up. That is real tough to do. But if you're the scale and you can get that first frag, maybe convert 1 or 2, it's just as tough for the Knicks to bring that back. But I would say that if RAPHA can pick up an early lead here, which is not easy, but if it happens, that becomes a more difficult game for RAISY later on as the clock ticks away.
Yeah. Now something else to consider, Reed, you were talking about setting traps with the scale bearer. The bull rush deals more damage the faster you're going. So if you get a trap close by and you run into him from pretty much point blank range, you're really not going to be doing all that much damage with the bull rush. So that's another element to consider here. Now Mega is about to spawn. RAISY not sufficiently confident in his stack to stick around. RAISY has got to make a run for it. RAPHA's trying to chase him down.
It's pretty rare when you see the scale bearer running away with a huge rail, a perfect rocket on the exit from the teleporter, followed up by a rail, and RAPHA is up in the lead, takes the first frag.
RAISY to secure the heavy this time around, though, rushing around the map, getting himself critical weapons. LG on LG, who's gonna take it? Oh, RAPHA! Overcoming the stack advantage, taking down his opponent with the LG.
It's one of those moments, Flea, where
RAISY's too early, 2 seconds too early. Mega doesn't spawn yet.
I talk about the reason that I have a dislike for scale is because it could go really wrong, it could go really right. And this is a really wrong scenario right here. Nothing is really worked out. You think you're this big burly scale that can then just go in and bully the frags away, and we've seen players fall into that trap.
Absolutely.
And then what happens? Your opponent's up by 4 suddenly. Now he's going to keep at it, and it's, you know, it is good read if it works out. Wow, what a rail defensively. And I think RAISY's just looking for a frag, stop the momentum, maybe convert 1 or 2. But you just cannot let RAPHA have too many freebies like that.
Speaking of freebies, completely whiffing the bull rush, giving your opponent a hell of a lot of opportunities to do damage. That is just serving it up on a silver platter. And now RAISY already down by 5 frags. We're not even at the halfway point of this map.
Yeah, this is already boding well for RAPHA now. There's still a lot of time left, but this is one of those scenarios that we were looking at the picks and bans and looking at the map. I was thinking about it, and this is kind of my biggest worry for RAISY.
Yeah.
You do not want to be in a position where, you know, RAPHA can just kind of run away with it. Because I'll tell you what, as good as he is at coming back, and as good even as RAISY is, with this particular setup with the champions and on the map, it's going to be tough. And another frag, and RAPHA.
Speaking some words of encouragement to himself right there. See him mouthing, come on, come on. That's
and another one.
Yeah, and another one, 8-0. Wheat, I can't help but wonder whether that pretty devastating loss on the previous map did something to RAISY's mental state. He seemed devastated after losing the previous map because he came so close, and now RAPHA is absolutely steamrolling him.
And maybe one of the reasons was because he was not confident about the map and the picks right here. I mean, halfway through, 10-0. This, ladies and gentlemen, is why I struggle with Scale Bearer. Now, RAISY does bring it back. Cheer.
Cheer.
Definitely. He needs it. The problem is, it's like to do that 9 more times. Really tough.
His track record with the bull rushes. Not exactly ideal either.
I'm
He's gotten
concerned
so little use out of it.
that RAISY's just not playing his game, right? Is relying maybe a little bit too much on the bull rush, and RAPHA's playing around the bull rush, right? I'm going to dodge you, then I'm going to LG you in the back. If I need to, I can ghost walk, then I can surprise you. How does, RAISY approach this?
Yeah. I mean, I think another important thing to consider is, of course, control of the hourglasses, right? You want to deny them as much as possible when you're up against Nyx because she's so dependent on her ability. But what are you going to do when you're Scale? Are you just going to keep rushing around the map just to deny them? No, that doesn't work, and that engagement doesn't work either. RAPHA was caught out in a very, very hard place, but still retaliates.
Now, we did see something that I think needs to be a staple if the last 3 minutes and 30 seconds will be miracle, and that is, opening up with those rails and then going in. If your opponent has Ghost Walk, yep, they might get away. But, right, that was, I think, the first really clean rail hit that we've seen come out of RAISY. And I wish that he would rely a little bit more on his fundamentals, because I'll tell you what, the ability of Scale is not really working out for him right now.
Indeed, it is not. Oh, that's juicy, though. Point blank being propelled into RAPHA by the rocket behind him. But wait, can this even be done? 8 frags in 3 minutes. Keep in mind, you're up against the Nyx, so first you've got to break the Ghost Walk and then find your opponent again. And I don't know if that's in the cards for RAISY at this stage. Oh, good attempt if he can land this shot. Oh, RAISY so hesitant, dodging his own aim.
Yeah.
Wanted to line that one up perfectly, but in doing so, he lost a lot of stack and didn't even get off the kill shot.
Yeah, he didn't. His look on his face was one of disappointment as well. Now does manage to do a little bit of damage there, but not enough. RAPHA is going to be able to get away, and like RAPHA's confidence level in his aim, in the engagement that he's choosing to take, it is incredibly solid. And we mentioned it before, RAPHA is hungry. He is looking for that championship again, and he is playing at beyond even championship level.
He most certainly is, and I think with 2 minutes left on the board and a 10 frag deficit, we can safely call GG on this map. Also, this is just really not a scoreline that you'd expect in a grand finals. Wait, 13 frags?
This is also one of those situations, right, where RAPHA let that clutch through in that first game, right? Knowing very well, like, that's going to be a tough matchup for me. And, it did set up a situation where if Scale was going to come out, right, in what map, how would that work? This was probably a situation that RAPHA was going to be pretty happy with.
Yeah.
He had a game plan for dealing with the Scale. 15-3, you're right, considering that we had a 6-9 score where RAISY won, and 8-7 that RAPHA won. This is a little bit more akin to what we saw this morning when RAPHA defeated RAISY. 11-3, 6-2, 5-1. This is that championship dominance.
It most certainly is, and that does mean that RAPHA will be on match point, on championship point after this map.
Yeah, 1 minute left to go. At this point in time, there is mathematically no chance that RAISY could bring this back. He's got to be putting his eyes on Awoken, where he will be playing the Visor, and RAPHA will be playing on the BJ.
That is a whole different beast, much smaller map. Perfectly balanced champions, at least as far as stack goes. Visor, slightly higher mobility, he's got the piercing sight, able to look through walls at times. But then you've got the BJ. RAPHA has got that burst damage to work with, and I think that at this point, RAISY is hopefully already thinking about what he can do differently in the next map. But I'm slightly worried about his mental state. Watching his face on cam after losing that previous map, he already seemed quite devastated.
Well, to be a champion, you have to be able to erase that last game and move forward. And RAPHA does set himself up for game point. 17-4 is pretty incredible of a score for him, but again, You know, that was a little bit more of the matchup. Ketchup joining us here on the stage. Your thoughts on that one?
Watching that in the crowd, the energy's pretty electric. Shouts to this crowd for another time. Wonderful QuakeCon so far, and it's wild to think that we might be almost over. But watching this match, it was a masterclass on how to handle Scalebearer in the right situation, even in moments when RAPHA had straight up nothing to survive a bull rush. Just basic movement, backwards movement, letting it miss, calling out RAISY in those situations, and then on top of that, keeping him behind, never missing a shot, picking up the right items, and the aggressive ghost walk, feeding himself so much that those surprise attacks, there was an instance up top right above here where the ghost walk right behind, one super shotgun. I mean,
yeah.
You're not used to seeing a Scalebearer player get handled like that.
Yeah, I mean, let me just throw out a hypothetical. Fleet to you. If we saw this game played 10 times, how many times do you think we get results like this?
You mean RAPHA versus RAISY with these picks on that map?
Yes.
Oh, I feel 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
easily.
Yeah,
RAPHA.
might even go 9. That's it's tough. I think it is so tough. That was kind of a perfect mid of the pack map pick and champion pick that came out for RAPHA, considering that, again, he maybe knew that that clutch match had a good chance of going RAISY's way. And RAISY now has to win every single map from this point to steal away that championship from RAPHA. I gotta imagine that means RAPHA can literally smell it. He can see it. It's almost blinding him, the lights coming off it. It is so close. He's got one hand on it.
I mean, this one must mean a lot to him. It's been 2 years since he's gotten to secure the belt. And if we look at the overall winnings as far as the Quake Championship League goes, right, we can look back and we can see that RAPHA is currently at 4 belts, Killson trailing behind him at 3. So if RAPHA can win this one, he will no doubt secure himself a spot as the GOAT of the Quake Champions Pro League era.
It takes 5, huh? It takes 5 as the
takes
GOAT
5.
officially?
It takes 5.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
it.
Just
I
checking.
mean, we're working on it. We're working on it. We're well underway. Well underway. What I'm loving about this so much, though, is the story. The biggest story going from RAISY's side, though, is that one fantastic start in this series. From that point on, it's starting to look a little bit more like what history has taught us, and that is where the concerns lie. Is he going to be able to? Even if there is some kind of barrier there, this is where you have to conquer it, because we're at the finals. This is the finals. There's no reruns here, and RAISY's had to work so hard to reach this point. It would be a perfect full circle moment if he could pull this off. But even getting a map, as he said many times, one map at a time. We have to just concentrate on each 10 minutes, and that's all there is to it. But
you know, we can run through all the scenarios. The one thing you have to consider is that RAPHA's been here before. He's been down before, he's clawed back, he's won. Being in the lead puts him in a very comfortable spot, which means, again, going back to RAISY, in order for him to avoid the second place curse, he has to win the next 3 games. Statistically, how many times has that even happened versus RAPHA, right? Like, this would be not only an incredible undertaking, but it would be, right, just statistically something that we had never really even seen before.
But to do the unthinkable, the World Finals is the place to pull it off.
Absolutely is. It absolutely is. Now, before we move on, just talking about the figure suite. They've placed each other 11 times in history of the Quake Pro League. RAPHA has won 9 out of those. And also worth noting is that RAISY has been in a grand finals 6 times throughout the Quake Pro League. 3 of those were against this very man, Liquid RAPHA, and he has yet to win a single one in that situation. But now he's got to go big, or he has to go home.
I mean, it's a tough spot to be in, right? For RAPHA fans, they're ready. They're like, this is done. Next game, RAPHA's going to have that belt once again. I know for the RAISY fans, they are just saying this is the time to pull out that miracle RAISY, right? Like you've shown us a different kind of RAISY here at QuakeCon, one that, you know, is a little bit more flexible, seems to be confident in himself. Would hate to see him kind of in a position where at the finals, you know, he worked so hard to get here and then it kind of falls apart again. Now, let me just say, also, amongst all of the competitors that we've had in the QPL, second place is still really damn good. It is. But when you've just been after that championship for so long,
I hope he can do it, and I know he's still got it in him, right? This, it would be a miracle, yes, but it would not be one that we haven't seen before. ESL 2018, where RAISY earned himself the nickname the God Slayer, right? RAPHA, untouchable, hadn't lost a map that entire tournament.
True.
He's up in the upper bracket, RAISY coming down from the lower one. Double best of 5, RAISY clears it and wins. So this is absolutely still possible.
He's got to channel the vibes from back then and make it happen. And I do think that, you know, RAISY is the tough spot is that he's up against two people, RAPHA and himself in that regard, right? If he can just overcome himself and just deal with RAPHA, I think maybe that miracle could happen. But right now, RAPHA is in a great spot to potentially secure his 5th championship.
I would go as far to say more than that in regards to how many people RAISY has to conquer. This crowd, I would go as far to say, is another extra dynamic. We talked to RAPHA earlier today. RAPHA was able to say that this energy, the people, the fact that he is the hometown hero, it's something that is fueling him. It is giving him that extra motivation. Doesn't feel good to be on a stage with a crowd of people that, look, they'll love RAISY to bits, but they have a clear favorite here. And conquering that is an extra dynamic entirely. Now, I do believe there has been a little bit of waiting here in between matches.
But they're about ready to jump back in.
Has to be done. I mean, if a player needs some time to get themselves together, this is potentially a final opportunity. So if you're going to have to take time, by all means, do it. Yo, shout outs to Lethal in the background.
Here we go, the RAISY fan club. Make some noise.
There they are.
There they are, the Maestro boys.
Flea, before you exit here, we are on Awoken. It's RAPHA with the BJ and RAISY with the Visor. Any thoughts on this particular matchup before?
A Visor on Awoken is a bit of a contentious issue. I know that there's players who really are like, oh man, I love picking him on this map and it's worked really well for me in the past, but that definitely doesn't always work. It's a relatively small map, so that piercing sight is going to make noise. Your opponent is going to hear you pop it more often than not. Plus, relatively small map, so you should always have a decent idea of where your opponent is at. So I think that the BJ, with that burst damage, especially with RAPHA's general awareness, his ability to pop that on time before the fight starts, this one is favoring RAPHA.
Well, for RAISY, the Bucks got to stop here. He needs to win the next 3 matchups. Every single one is one step closer. But that is a tall, tall order when you've got a 4-time champion in RAPHA. And it is amazing still throughout his career that he is just devastating as he is and as dominant as he is.
And here we go. What could be the final map in our Quake World Championships? QuakeCon! Make some noise! Checking things out from RAPHA's point of view first. We're going to find out who's going to score this first blood and the motivation to continue in this 10 minutes. RAPHA, a decent selection of weapons, has basically everything he could want at this point. But now the game is setting up that first fight. RAISY, the piercing sight, ready to rock. Hasn't used it yet though. And I feel like there's a reason for that. Is it going to help the fight later on? In this position now, knowing the advance could happen. Oh no, a little bit of self-damage on the pillar. That is not what you wanted, as RAPHA is going to get the first frag here in what could be Wheat, our final match.
It could be, and
oh, no.
RAPHA is going to get that second frag. And yeah, you mentioned that he didn't pop that piercing sight right away, something that sometimes we'd see right out of the gate, right off of the spawn. It didn't happen, not sure why RAISY decided to do that, but RAPHA just decided to get aggressive early, knowing that getting that first frag can be crucial, right, to the momentum of this matchup. To then follow it up with a conversion frag, that's a hell of a way for RAPHA to start in what could be the championship game.
And RAISY, yeah, gotta say, a lot of patience, but almost hiding in the start of this matchup. I spent a good 15, 20 seconds in that LG room, not even moving, just desperately listening to where his opponent could be, because I'm going to be honest with you, I think he does not want to have to spend that piercing sight unless he needs to. In this instance, he will pop it, but he's early, early, early. You can see just how important this item's going to be for him.
Yeah, I'm really curious what RAPHA's going to do. Immediately popping that dual wield over near the Mega. LG comes out. RAPHA actually taking a fair amount of damage while RAISY's able to pick up that Mega. But he zoned him. He kind of knows exactly where he's at. And RAISY falls down is caught by the LG, hanging in the air catch-up. RAPHA was low, but he got himself the heavy, and already 3 frags up 2 minutes in.
That's the kind of fight that you feel in your bones. RAISY takes a unorthodox angle towards Mega there for that fight. Does catch RAPHA off guard, but a defensive rocket's enough to force it away and just disengage the entire thing. This next major item, RAISY looking for it, and RAPHA kind of doing what he's done all day long is, if it's not worth the risk, it's not worth the risk. He's going to back off there, prioritize that heavy, has been able to take it away from RAISY now, and has been able to escape with his life, maintaining a solid lead. As now, RAISY, we have to go for a new plan. There's still no rocket launcher in hand, mind you.
Yeah, I mean, RAPHA is scary as you know, just any time you're playing against him, but a comfortable RAPHA, that's even more scary. And right now, I feel like RAPHA's got the game position. He had that game to start off. He got the first initial frags, and this is the best possible scenario for RAPHA to clinch this championship.
But in doing all of this, RAISY has been able to secure himself the heavy and is looking extremely chunky for this next fight. Pushing forwards towards the health now. RAPHA forced on retreat, and RAISY using this opportunity to know that RAPHA is not going to be around for this mega health. In this instance, we're going to take that light. We're going to shut that away. RAPHA left with basically nothing. And in this position, RAISY opening rail, but the return rail from RAPHA. RAPHA's still not healthy, and he's still going to have to give up this main area of Awoken.
He does. He also had to give up heavy, and this is the first time that RAISY's kind of been in position. Now he's going to slow play it, as we've seen him do before, but it is RAPHA who seems to have his own piercing sight and perfect rocket doing some damage. Wasn't enough to completely negate that stack from RAISY, but it did stop him from attacking. So 4 minutes into this matchup, 6 minutes left to go. RAPHA still with a 3 frag lead.
Worth pointing out that in terms of light armor, RAPHA has actually had very, very few of them. I think it goes to show what areas of the map have been more important, or in general, just controlled from RAPHA. Some opening damage here as well. RAISY using this chance to push forward. It's going to be health in 3 seconds. Once more, RAISY pretty comfortable, and he does the right thing. He knows that item is his for the taking. So in doing that, let's push forward, get some damage, and then we take the item. Let's just make that divide even bigger. RAPHA should by all means be a done deal, and he will be. RAISY secures a frag here, still behind, but this is a momentum shift, Wheat.
It is, and I think that the general strategy that RAISY used in the last minute and a half, right? Try to hit those rails, then go in for the attack. It's working out, but the dual wield LG comes out. Nice dance by RAISY around the column, so immediately pop that sight. It sets him up, trying to hit those rockets, cannot finish him off with the rail. Oh, takes some massive damage there. Has to be careful grabbing that mega, but RAISY's brought this back and is just now down by 1.
A very scary fight near TP entrance. I have to say, either player could have gone down there. And this time it's going to be the 2-piece combo. RAISY stays alive here. We said earlier on, you know, there's nothing left but to win every single map. An almost impossible feat in these conditions for a lot of players, but RAISY fighting tooth and nail to stay in this tournament. 100 damage as well, what a start. But RAPHA pushes forward. RAISY almost out of armor, swiftly undone by this light. Now, Heavy, our next challenge.
Oh, wow. Anticipating that RAISY was going to come from that window. Piercing sight. The rail almost hitting. He just needs to come up, and there it is. A beautiful rail as RAPHA comes up the stairs. Now RAISY finally takes the lead, and he has a chance to extend that lead, catch up, but you do not ever count RAPHA out. Just don't do it. You'll have a bad time.
All of those small decisions made at a moment's notice. RAPHA, the clutch factor has been unreal this entire weekend. And he's only 1 frag behind. RAISY in a better situation, has a lot more stack, and has controlled this huge section towards Mega near the rail almost as well. A direct rocket to start. And actually defensive rockets from RAPHA, even better. RAISY would have been in a horrible situation there, but RAPHA choosing to back off. RAISY's piercing sight, allowing that defense to be much safer. But that rail so close yet so far.
I mean, playing with fire, but knew that he could touch it and maybe get a little burn because that Mega was still there right behind him, but just to show the level of risk that these two are willing to make to try to inch any sort of lead that they can. Huge LG, but RAPHA's on top, and he ties it back up.
That visor torso went spinning right there. But from this position, 4 frags each. That nail gun did more than enough damage to force RAPHA backwards. 2.5 minutes left to go. The dual wield looks like it has in fact been popped. The defensive rail as well. RAISY pushes forward, answers back with the piercing sight. I see you, my friend, and I know that a safe rocket jump up towards this health is more than enough for me. Now, just over 2 minutes on the clock. A lot lies in the balance here, Wheat. I don't even want to think about what's going through these players' heads.
I mean, you know, both taking very calculated moves. RAPHA with some big tri-bolt damage. That's going to force RAISY to rethink how he's going to attack that heavy. And that puts RAPHA in a position to be able to do so. Now, he does take a little bit of damage, but he grabs that heavy. His stack's looking good. RAISY with just a shard of armor. Not a whole lot coming out there. And we do have dual wield up. So RAISY wants to maintain that stack. Rail exchange.
And at this point too, RAPHA has had to be really careful all map long, only taking 2 of the Mega, and then RAISY, it's 13. And from that position, you know, I know BJ has access to a little bit of health regeneration, but if you're getting constantly peppered down by rails, that ain't gonna mean all that much. 1.5 minutes left on the clock. At the rate this is going, could engage a sudden death. The dual wield on the tri-bolt, oh good lord, RAISY, 95 HP.
Pretty much negating that Mega, and at that point I think he's okay with that as long as he's holding on to that heavy and he is holding on to his dual wield for that burst damage. 1 minute left to go. We're tied 4-4. RAPHA could walk away with the championship belt with a win on this game, and so expect these two to play patiently. RAPHA's got a little bit extra room for error, but he does not want to give up this game to RAISY.
He's certainly setting himself up for a victory with 45 seconds in control of this heavy. However, the opening rail, RAISY engages, doesn't capitalize, uses this just to keep information, a fair idea of where RAPHA's going to be still. 30 seconds on the clock. I would be surprised if this doesn't go to a sudden death, and how fitting it would be. RAPHA potentially winning this tournament. RAISY keeping himself alive. There is so much weighing on this. The dual wield is real. RAPHA juggles RAISY to secure a frag, and Wheat, is that gonna be enough?
I think it is. He held on, but RAISY's still going after him. RAPHA's gonna chase, and RAPHA gives out a guttural scream as he knows he has secured it. Let's talk about that dual wield lightning gun for just a second, because I think most Quake players would have popped that the moment that they saw RAISY. RAPHA didn't. He waited. He felt that RAISY was going to come out and show himself, and the moment he did, that dual wield hold up in the air, RAPHA absolutely deserved that. Ladies and gentlemen, your QuakeCon 2023 Quake World Champions, it's RAPHA!
A long year, so much work put into the improvement, the grinding, a man unsatisfied with the last 2 years, and this is where things come full circle. A worthy champion, a world-class representation of Quake. It's RAPHA, ladies and gentlemen.
What a way to win it is, where he's been so dominant the entire course of the Pro League, the weekend, and he's got one of the strongest work ethics in the game. He couldn't be more deserving if he tried, but what a way to end that grand final.
I mean, he literally sent RAISY to space with that dual wield LG. There is no better scenario where the moment he saw RAISY jump, I guarantee you he knew, I just won this championship, right? He popped that dual wield. I just have to commend the discipline that RAPHA had. Truly a champion.
You wonder where we go from here. The future's certainly bright. I know that it's been a long year. So many Quake players from around the world, the challengers, the major event here to finish things off. And I do believe we have the champion on stage with us, RAPHA, mate. Congratulations. Let's get the generic questions out the way first.
Okay, sure.
How do you feel?
First, can we give a round of applause to RAISY
Absolutely.
for what he had to do to come to the finals? And, yeah, and seriously, really, really well played on the first map. I had no answer to the clutch on that map. So.
That was going to be one of our questions for sure, right? We went into it, we talked a little bit about the picks and bans, and, you know, we speculated, oh, it could have just been like RAPHA thinking, I might just have to give this map up, but that's how you felt going into that one?
Yeah, they changed it so the winner's bracket advantage didn't get to ban first for a champ, and so it was up, and I just felt there were a couple options, but I could have been baited into other picks, so I just tried to make it work, but he played phenomenally on the first map, and really weren't any flaws in his game at all.
Yeah, well done.
How did you feel in that final moment? So, of course, on Awoken, you had stack disadvantage, didn't have height advantage at all in the slightest, but with that dual wield in hand, did you know for certain that this is going to be the game-winning frag?
I knew it was going to be for one of us right there. I wasn't hitting very well on that last map, but I knew, like, if I just keep it close enough after the comeback, then, you know, I have the opportunity to trap him potentially one time, and that's all it's going to take. And
you held on to that dual wheel for that reason,
yes,
right? You felt like RAISY was going to jump from that window.
Yeah, based off of how the previous rotation went, I figured that he would go to top T, and then he had sight, so then he would, like, establish position on heavy. And I felt like fighting him on the heavy would be too risky. I take one bad rocket, I get bounced off the map, or I just don't deal any damage, and the rocket jumps and chases me for the kill. So I figured just holding position, like trying to cut off for the next mega, was best. And it ended up working out. And just serendipitously, I meant to go to Cubby, but I fell. And so I figured, okay, now's the time he's going to try to go over me. And so I faked sound, went back, and that's all she wrote.
So it's been a long year. You know, there's been a lot of practice, the ups and downs of the online shows and the performance that you've had throughout the course of that, all led to where we are today, the LAN, the crowd, QuakeCon's big return. It's almost a perfect story that you were able to take the first place. You know, being the crowd favorite, you have such a legacy with this event throughout the countless years. But in this exact moment, you're now the reigning champion. I know you said that you were hungry, you were looking to hit the stride, you know, you were unsatisfied with the last few years.
Yeah.
What's running through your head right now, being at the top of the Quake world?
I'm just thankful we were able to play here again. It's been way too long. I really appreciate everybody, like, cheering in the crowd and playing in front of a huge crowd. It's really exciting to play, regardless of who you're cheering for. I've always wanted to play in big stage matches like that, and to be able to do it at QuakeCon again is very, very special. And I think just winning QuakeCon in general, the first target I went for was 0-4, who had 3 titles.
Oh, wow. Called out. John Hill.
And then there was a race between Cypher and I, and now the whole race with QPL between, you know, Kilson and myself and Wenger, and it's just pushing me to try to take my limits even higher. And I'm just really thankful for, you know, the scene that we have and the players to play against. It's really, really special, and there's nothing like it.
Well said. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we actually got a chance to talk with you several times during the featured matches of the QPL that were taking place weekly. And even you said, you know, the talent pool that we've got now is exceptional, even compared to what we've had a little bit ago. And I don't think you ever said, I'm worried, Wheat, but you acknowledged that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's a lot of leveling up.
No,
you know, where do you think things go from here, right? You said that this motivates you to get better. Like, do you see a lot of the competitors that you faced here this weekend, like, stepping their games up as well?
Oh, yeah, they're going to be tired of losing. It's just, they are going to be hungry, and there will be another target on my back again. And I'll have to, like, really be diligent and prepare properly. And yeah, it's going to be pretty tough, but, you know, I'd rather be in this position than, you know, losing out. So it's worth it.
You like that position. Yeah, all right, there you go. There you go. RAPHA, is there anything you want to say? I mean, you did already thank the community, a lot of the players, but is there anything you want to say, anyone you want to thank? This is your time.
Just like I said before, thank you all for being here today and being able to be a part of this together, as well as my wonderful girlfriend who's been here cheering me on and helping me and supporting me. I love her so much. And all my friends and family at home, I miss you. And just thanks to Team Liquid and Alienware for providing all of the equipment that we used this weekend, PCs, monitors, all that jazz. So nothing else, Reed. I just appreciate you guys, and thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, one more round of applause. 5 Quake champion belts. I don't know what you do with all those, Rafa, but congratulations. Collect them all. And again, congratulations. Yeah, great,
Thanks, guys.
great job. Yeah, we're you're good. You're good. Go celebrate, buddy.
Well, what a year it's been. I cannot understate enough the absolute joy of being back here. It felt like we'd never be back. And just seeing so many familiar faces, old friends, new friends. You can't really ask for a more perfect case.
It is difficult, isn't it? And even after 4 years, it's nice to see the community again, everyone back here on the stage as well. And it's nothing short of spectacular, though, is it, from what we've witnessed today.
I mean, I also just have to say, the players this year, right? The storylines were phenomenal. We had upsets, heartbreaks, incredible performances, things that we, weren't even expecting to see. And just another great year. It wasn't just this QuakeCon. It was the 18 weeks of QPL and the players putting all the practice and the dedication into those, entertaining us each and every week just to finally culminate in what was amazing here. There were so many great matches that we got to see, and I too, just like you all, very thankful to be here at another QuakeCon. Let's give a big round of applause to Quake, to Bethesda, to all the folks that helped with the production crew, to you who came out each and every matchup, to all the players who showed up. Want to give a shout out to the casters, all the production crew and back. We thank each and every one of you. And again, one big final congratulations to RAPHA, the 5-time champion. And he's right. He's got another target on your back. So players, we want to see you shoot for that target again next year. So thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your time here at QuakeCon 2023. This is a wrap to the Quake World Championships. Again, on behalf of all the casters and the production crew, thank you so much for tuning in online or watching here in person. We can't wait to come back. We'll see you again next year. We're out of here. Peace.